This video has minor spoilers for the Star Wars Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad novel, as well as the Shattered Empire comic. The Star Wars Battlefront 2 single-player trailer recently came out. I know it's been a little bit, but I still feel like I should put in my 2 cents. To start out with, Inferno Squad is an Imperial squad created by Admiral Garrick Versio, Iden's father. It was originally organized to hunt down and kill the remaining partisans that followed Saw Gerrera after Rogue One, after the destruction of the Death Star. Garrick Versio got 4 Imperials together and formed this Special Forces squad. This is a very heavy spoiler for Inferno Squad, but one member of the team does die. That's Sane. I'm pretty sure it's Verana. I don't know. She was one of my favorite characters, but she does die, so we don't see her in this. I'm glad I didn't know that she was in this before I read the book, because that was a total surprise. So yeah, that's the forward about Inferno Squad. To start out with, we have a Mon Calamari cruiser. In the foreground, we do see 2 A-Wings and 1 U-Wing. Next up is Iden in captivity. There is footage of the first mission of Battlefront, the single player, and it is Iden trying to escape. This is actually not her droid, it's Del Meeko's, one of the members of Inferno Squad. It looks like the droid was sent there to bust her out, and there is gameplay of her going through that ship. Eventually she gets to an airlock and she jettisons herself out into space, as we can see here. This is the Corvus. The Corvus is the flagship of Inferno Squad. In the background we can see Operation Cinder. Here's another forward. I'll be talking about this a ton. Operation Cinder was the Emperor's contingency plan. It was his plan that if he died, this plan was to go forth, no matter what. And he had ways to make sure that happened. He had messengers called Sentinels to deliver that message to all his admirals, wherever they are throughout the galaxy. But Operation Cinder was to pretty much wreak havoc on the Empire, to destroy as much as he's built up so no one else can take that. There is evidence of that in Shattered Empire. The whole Shattered Empire comic follows and takes place because of that Operation Cinder. And pretty much that's the only source in canon of Operation Cinder right now. We do obviously know that Battlefront 2 will be talking about Operation Cinder as well. Oh, in Operation Cinder in Shattered Empire, there's like satellites in space that beam down energy onto the planet, and they just cause havoc with weather. On Naboo, a bunch of hurricanes formed, and it looks like here it's actually lightning, or it looks like it even could be like pillars of fire. On Naboo, it was mainly weather storms like that. In this next shot, we can see the Corvus landing. I assume that's Vardos, the home planet of Iden and Garrick Versio. Vardos is a planet that is very, very, very loyal to the Empire, which is very strange that Operation Cinder would be taking place on that planet. It also did take place on Naboo, which was the Emperor's home planet, but I still don't quite understand why all that happened. So in this frame, we can see in the background lightning. So that's why I think that this previous screenshot is Vardos as well, just because of that bolt of lightning. And the next one is just a second later. We do see a TIE fighter landed there on the ground, along with the Corvus. Next up, Death Star 2. In the background, we can see the Executor, a Super Star Destroyer. That was Vader's flagship. And then, if you look close, you can see tons of smaller Star Destroyers, which is kind of interesting, how small they look in comparison to Death Star 2. So that does look like it's above an Endor. So this is on Endor. That is Inferno Squad right there. This is one of my favorite pictures of the trailer with just all the fauna. It looks kind of cool. This is Inferno Squad unmasked. On the left, we have Del Meeko. At the time of the destruction of Death Star 2, he would be around 35 years old. Gideon Hask in the middle, he would be about 30. And Iden Versio, I can't quite remember her age from Inferno Squad, but I know she is younger than Gideon. Iden is the youngest out of the group, but she is also the commander. Next up is Vardos. I would assume this is Vardos. Vardos, the whole planet is one big city, just like Coruscant. First, I did think this was Coruscant, but then when you look at Coruscant in other pictures, it definitely looks different. So I do assume this is Vardos. This is Garrick Versio with Vardos in the background and Iden addressing him. In this scene, Garrick tells Iden that the Emperor is dead, and then a sentinel comes out. It lets her know about Operation Cinder. This next one is the rubble of Death Star 2. At the bottom, we see another Mon Calamari cruiser, and then amidst all that rubble, we do see 2 TIE fighters. I do not see the bright red stripes on them like another one of Iden's TIE fighters shows, with her being in Inferno Squad, but it is a little far away. In this next one, like I said, you can see the red markings on the TIE, which I would assume means that it's Iden in there, and the red does represent Inferno Squad. This looks like it's above Fondor, at the Fondor shipyards. There is a multiplayer map for that. It was in the beta as well. So that takes place above Fondor. This next one, I think it's in that same exact mission. It's Iden dropping into a rebel ship, and you can see all of them have their back turned. She does still have that droid on her back, so I wonder if she does take that. In the Inferno Squad book, the droid is Del Mico's. Like, he takes care of it, it follows his commands, and it was all his. So it's kind of strange that she has one of her own. I wonder if she just has one or if it's his. Next up, I assume this is Sullust. Sullust is the home of the Celestins, which is 9 Nub. And at first, all these planets, they look like Coruscant or Vardos. And like this could kind of look like that. It kind of looks like lights, but if you look closer, it looks more like lava. So I do assume this is Sullust. That's an Imperial shuttle. That could actually either be Imperials or it could be Luke. Luke shows up later in the trailer, and that would make sense because at the end of episode 6, he does fly out of the Death Star on an Imperial shuttle. So you never know. Next up, we have an X-Wing going down above Sullust. It looks like it's Sullust because it looks like lava on the left. So it looks like there was a major Imperial and Rebel engagement on Sullust. In canon, Sullust was a staging ground for the Rebel fleet before the attack on Death Star 2. Here is the Corvus again with Operation Cinder going on. See, these are the satellites I was talking about, just beaming energy down onto the planet below, just causing havoc, just destroying everything. I'm not sure what planet this is, though. It looks a little like Naboo. It's definitely not Vardos, which we think Operation Cinder does take place on, and it doesn't really look like Naboo, honestly. So I'm not sure what that is. Maybe they're introducing another planet. It was a galaxy-wide operation, but you never know. So this right here, this is Takodana. It's makes its first appearance in The Force Awakens. That's Maz's castle in the background, but this is not during the timeline of The Force Awakens. You can tell because this TIE fighter is not a First Order TIE. This is just a regular Imperial TIE, and it's chasing the Millennium Falcon in this picture. So, as we know in The Force Awakens, Han has been to Maz's castle before, and so maybe this shows an appearance that he makes there, or whoever is flying the Falcon. And then I actually want to look back at the movie and see if there is this carbon scoring from the lasers from the TIE. I wonder if there are that in the movie. Next up, we have Naboo, specifically Theed. So this is pretty interesting. I didn't even notice. It looks like there's smoke from Theed as well. So it looks like that the planet has already been attacked. And then there is the, what's that called? It's the Gozanti? Yeah, they're Gozanti class cruisers that are dropping these AT-ATs in. That's pretty interesting. We don't really know of any invasion of Naboo after the destruction of Death Star 2. The only thing we know about Naboo after the destruction of Death Star 2 was in Shattered Empire. Leia, the Queen of Naboo, and Poe Dameron's mom were all on that planet when Operation Cinder commenced, and they actually took up arms in Naboo starfighters, and they went out into space and destroyed some TIEs and some of the satellites to clear up the weather. But it looks like that is Leia on Naboo, as we know from Shattered Empire, while the Empire was attacking. So it looks like they staged a ground assault as well. It's kind of weird. I would have thought that they would already had troops there on Naboo, since it was the Emperor's home planet and it was an Imperial planet. So, we never know. Next up, we have Luke. Luke will make an appearance in the single player. That's pretty awesome. I'm really excited for this game. It's revealing a lot about the story. A lot of the canon books recently, they haven't actually expounded on anything. They've just introduced new planets, and it just gives a little bit more backstory. But with this, it continues episode 6, which I love. Here is Iden. I would assume that's Iden confronting Luke on Sullust. Next up, we have Maz. It looks like we will see Maz in the single player, which is great. I do love Maz. She was a great character in The Force Awakens, and I definitely want to learn more about her. I'm not sure who the person is on the left. I don't know. It's just a silhouette. It could be Iden, which would be kind of cool to see a conversation between Iden and Maz, but I don't know. Next up, this is the biggest piece I found from the whole trailer, and I have not seen anyone else talk about this. So I think if you're going to focus and remember anything from this video, remember this. This right here is Vardos. We can tell because of the Shin Ya tree at the bottom left. That red tree, those trees are native to Vardos. In the Inferno Squad book, it talks a lot about them. It talks a lot about their play in their culture there on Vardos. So that is key. That right there says it's Vardos. What's very, very interesting about this little scene is that you can see at the top that is an AT-AT. And if you look closer in this next one, you can see down there an AT-ST and 3 stormtroopers. And in the scene, the AT-AT fires on those. So why would an AT-AT fire on an AT-ST and 3 stormtroopers? An AT-AT is firing on Imperial troops. So either that AT-AT was taken by rebels, or Imperials are fighting Imperials on Vardos. My money is actually Imperials fighting Imperials, because this planet, Vardos, like I said earlier, is very, very Imperial. So why would the Emperor, as soon as he died, turn on one of the planets that's been the most loyal to him? I bet tons of people would be upset. They'd take up arms against those people that still are following the Emperor, and this sort of civil war would break out. And I feel like that's exactly what's happening. Another reason behind me thinking that it's not rebels in that AT-AT is just kind of the point of view. It looks like you're at the point of view of the person that's in the walker, and I would not assume that you would be seeing the point of view of any rebels. I would assume you're only seeing the point of view of Imperials. I know it's a cutscene, but still, I think it takes place. They're looking through the eyes of an Imperial. Next up, we still have some more Vardos. You can see the tree on the left a lot better now. The Shin Ya tree with all the stormtroopers there as well. This is the Sentinel. The Sentinels had the Emperor's face displayed on them, and he took blood. He used blood to confirm who he was talking to, and he had messages directly from the Emperor to that person specifically, and to all the people shown in canon. The Sentinels were used to tell them about Operation Cinder and how they can commence that and what planets to attack. And last but not least, we have Kylo Ren. This was probably one of the biggest pieces of intel in the whole trailer. We see Kylo, which is very strange since The Force Awakens takes place about 30 years after Return of the Jedi. So this game, the single player, is going to last 30 years. It's going to stretch 30 years. This would put Iden, Gideon, and Del all in their 60s, which is kind of strange. I don't know how they'll pull that off, but this is Kylo Ren in the single-player story trailer. So he is obviously in the game, in the story, and I'm pretty sure he didn't don the suit until pretty close to The Force Awakens. So I do hope we see a lot between that time, closer to The Force Awakens than to Return of the Jedi. It looks like we will see a lot of Return of the Jedi, or very close to the Return of the Jedi. But I hope we do get pretty far into the time leading up to The Force Awakens. But that's it. I know this video was a little bit long, but I felt like all that should be out there. I did skip over some tiny things that I felt like you can obviously figure out or just didn't feel like needed explaining. The game comes out a little over 2-3 weeks. I really can't wait for it. I love the beta. I played it that Saturday and Sunday non-stop. I worked the rest of the days, but those days I played it non-stop. When I finished work, I went home and played it with my buddy. He normally gets sick of games pretty quick, and I was really surprised that he wanted to play this game all day long. So that's about it. I think I will release some Battlefront 2 beta gameplay that I recorded when it was out. I know there are some people that are kind of stretching for videos for Battlefront 2 right now, but that's not the reason why I waited, but at least I can entertain you in between. So that's about it, guys. Really looking forward to the game, and I will see you guys next time.